Hey guys, today we're here at one of Australia's most awarded tile showrooms. We're here with General Manager Trent Spencer and Fernando from Atlas Concorde. So we're going to have a chat to them about changes in technology in the tile industry and why they do what they do. So Trent, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, mate, and your passion for the industry?
Yeah, look, Duayne, I was lucky enough to get into this industry early and at a young age. My father started the business in 1979, 40 years ago, and at 7-year-old he brought me to work, and he basically I started cleaning and doing the showroom, and I've grown up with tiles all my life. And finishing my schooling, I got to drive the truck, and that got me out and about around all the building sites, and gave me a great understanding. And it's been an advantage because I've seen the changes over the years with the building. In those days we started delivering by hand with planks, and I can remember there was no waterproofing required in those days. It's amazing to believe. So as an industry, as tile industry's changed, but seeing the building industry being massive changes. So
Awesome. Fernando, tell us, how did you get in the industry, mate, and what's your role?
Well, hello everyone. Hello guys. I've been doing this for almost 6 years in Atlas Concorde. I bumped into the industry almost by chance. One love took me to another love. I found this Italian girl in China, and I lost my head. And I went forward directly to Modena. And at the beginning, I didn't think much of the tile because I came from a very technical engineering background. But then I started looking into it and found that what my old boss was saying to me is right. It's very easy to get. It's very difficult sometimes getting into tiles. It's impossible to get out of tiles. Because it just, despite some people thinking that it's a very, let's say, banal product or something very unimportant, keeps on changing. There are many different looks, many innovations. Especially having the chance to work with Italians and with people that understand Italian material. That here in Australia, actually, we have a lot of them. You just never get bored about this. So I'm very happy, and we've been working together for almost 6 years.
Yeah. And once you're a tile person, you're always a tile person. That's just how it is. It's you fall in, you're in.
Yeah, you're in.
Awesome. So guys, a big thing now just throughout the industry is sustainability and energy efficiency. So like in the tile world, what are you doing? What are you guys doing during manufacturing and then supplying and like right across the board to help out with sustainability?
Yeah, look, sustainability has been a very important part in our industry, and Uptiles took it very seriously. So years ago, we became the first green tag tile company in Queensland. We're still only one of two in Australia that has a green tag. And all of our suppliers actually have a LEEDs compliance, which is the international standard. To achieve one of those is a massive amount of work. Fernando, you can explain a little bit more to the efforts they go to.
Yeah, the good thing, the important aspect of sustainability, I think that most people need to understand is that it doesn't conflict with economical interest. Sometimes being more competitive means being more sustainable, especially in Europe. We do it by recycling every waste of energy that we produce in our factories. We use the heat from the kilns to avoid having to pay for gas to heat up the offices or to heat up the warehouses, number one. We try to integrate all the chain of value from the mines of clay until the packaging. So we streamline and we waste as less as possible. We recycle material that from the production line comes a little bit with defects. We break it down and we take it back to the beginning of the production line. In order for us, let's say, to leave as a footprint as little as possible. And when we do leave a footprint as little as possible, we invest a big part of the taxes that we pay in Italy in green projects. Of course, you have an industry, you cannot always be perfectly zero carbon, leave a zero carbon mark, but you can invest part of your profits into solar panels, into changing the materials of the factory, so we spend even less, and so on and so forth. I think this is more or less the philosophy that we are going forward. And then the way we will produce tiles in the future in a much more efficient way will also avoid all the downtime in the factory. That it doesn't mean that when we stop producing tiles, we stop spending energy.
Yeah, so like just tiles themselves, like obviously quite sustainable. Like generally, if you pick a good quality tile, it's down there for a very long time. So
Yeah,
it's not a
well-
floor covering that you've got to keep replacing.
No, well, with Atlas Concorde, we're able to give a lifetime warranty in a domestic situation. So the product only needs to be replaced if you want to do it because of fashion and things. So that was part of through the green tag, we discovered that the longevity of the product was part of the sustainability of it as well, for the energy that it took to manufacture it. The guys also go to the point where the boxes, the cardboard and things are recycled. They take the product very seriously, but overall, the product's very sustainable. It doesn't take huge energy to make for the length of time that it lasts.
So guys, obviously technology is coming into all parts of the industry now. Like the size of some of the tiles that are coming into the industry now are huge, and do you see that like that's now starting to take over a little bit from the solid stone slabs because the tiles are getting so big and they can be used for different
uses and things.
use, yeah.
Well, the thing is, with the porcelain slab, it has so many advantages, which it replaces a lot of products. It replaces stone and marble. We can make them look like steel and concrete, and you're able to use them in places that you couldn't use those particular products.
So what sizes? Like what sizes can we get tiles in now?
The biggest size at the moment is 3.2 by 1.6, so the same as the largest engineered stone slabs. The advantage with these is they don't have silica in them, so obviously working with them and that they're safer. But they're also then got a sustainability where they're able to be used internal and external because they're not UV affected, so they're colour fast for life. You have a product that has a breaking strength greater than most things on the market, and thermal shock resistance, so you can take a pot out of the oven straight onto the surface of the porcelain, it's not affected. Or in Europe, for instance, minus 10, minus 20 degrees, you've got it externally, doesn't absorb moisture and crack. So some pretty major advantages in that. And I think the slab has also got a secondary use for the future, the plan where we were talking sustainability. Fernando touched on it earlier when we were discussing about making a big slab.
Yeah.
And eventually what they're going to use it and make it into smaller sizes from the big slabs rather than many productions and things.
Exactly. Nowadays, for example, if you have one range with many different sizes, we need to produce each and every one of them. In the future will be made of planks. We will make planks, and then when Trent wants to put 30 square meters of 40 by 80 in his bathroom, we'll just cut it up, pack it, and send it to him in a very lean, agile way. So it will help satisfy the customers in a more efficient way. That, and also it will help people save a little bit or avoid damaging the landscape as we're doing now. I love personally also sometimes natural stones, Calacata, Carrara, and so on. But when you go to the source, when you go to Carrara, to Tuscany, and you see all those big mountains eaten up, you say, okay, we need to find a way not to eat so much of these mountains. So, and aesthetic-wise, if it was 10 years ago, I understand that people wanted to go for the natural material. But nowadays, the graphic is the same.
So again, that technology is just taking over. So you can now basically photograph or mimic anything that you want on a tile.
Yeah, so we can photograph Calcutta and reproduce it into the body of the porcelain, and you won't know the difference. But the advantage is there's no sealing, no maintenance. You're not worried about staining it or looking after it for life. You get the look and the feel, but it lasts a lifetime without any ongoing. And obviously sealers and chemicals and things are not things you want to bring into your home, so it avoids all those situations.
And then obviously, like with the size they're coming in now, so they can be used for like other things such as splashbacks, bench tops, like all those.
So we're finding, building facades on the external buildings. We're doing a lot of lifts, so they come in 6 mil, 12 mil, and 20 mil. So we can create a slab that's 3 meters by 1.6 and 6 mil. It allows us to, clad a lift which needs a weight. We can clad the face of a kitchen, like the drawers and the cupboards as well, continuing the vein from the top over the edge and down the face. Very durable, obviously, doesn't wear because it's rated like a floor tile. So on a bench, you're never going to create, even with cups and knives and sauces, cooking, nothing's going to affect or hurt it. So it's a great product.
So in relation to new building standards, how is technology in tiles helping with that?
Oh, look, I think one of the main things in the flooring industry is a slip resistance, which people want to be able to bring look and feel into their home, but have also got to meet standards like on steps and things where you require slip resistance. The advantage of the porcelain is we can make it in polished, we can make it in matte, we can make it textured. So we're able to create different textures, same look, but also meet the different standards. In Italy, they've worked very hard with creating slip resistance, but a cleanability. because the problem is cleaning a slip resistance product can be difficult. So we're now getting down to the point where they're able to create a smooth tile which will still rate under the slip resistance testing. So it's very good.
And I want to add, having in consideration especially the Australian standards, because sometimes what we designed for Europe was not comparable or correlated to the Australian standards. For the last 2-3 years, we have, before launching a collection, we ask ourselves, is this ready, is this suitable for Australia and New Zealand for that extent? And the answer is yes. So we are, before we started finding the right partners that allowed us to grow in this market, and since Australia became a big focus market for us, we started developing products especially for your requirements.
Yeah, right. Awesome.
Which are the toughest in the world.
Yes, that is completely true. That is completely true.
Trent, obviously being one of Australia's most awarded showrooms, and Fernando, developing new tiles, how do you keep up with new trends and stay ahead of the market?
So we've been lucky in that, 40 years ago, my father made a selection of factories in Italy and Spain, and we chose the right partners, I suppose. Then they're all family businesses like ours, much larger, obviously, and they were on the cutting edge then, and now they've been driven to that. And I think some of the changes have come because China entered our market, and they brought in a low-cost product, but it failed in certain areas and things like that, which forced the Italians to create new and innovative things so that they can be competitive, I suppose. Not driven by price, but driven by having something on a better technology, being more value for your money. So the advantage of having Fernando, they come 3 times a year from Italy, come here and they educate our staff and and they visit clients like yourself and go through the new technologies. And the idea of visiting you is so that we get an understanding of what's required for our market. Gives them an advantage. Obviously, they go back, they develop product that suits our market and meets all of the standards we need. So.
Awesome.
Yes, we are very lucky because we enjoy a constant dialogue with the trendsetters of other industries, be it fashion, be it cars, be it furniture, be it other types of decorative elements on the house. So when we launch a tile, we see a collection, we see it as a concept that integrates with the latest trends in all of the rest of the elements that go into the house. So when people receive our materials, they are coherent with what they are seeing around, and I think that's pretty much success. We have a strong product development team. We of course also collaborate with agencies that do consulting for us 2-3 times a year to tell us if we are going the right way or not. We collaborate with artists that even give us inspiration. We want to be efficient and we want to sell volume, we want to be big and we want to make it work. But we also bet a lot on innovation and inspiration. I think that's the main part of the Made in Italy.
So guys, for people out there that are thinking of building or renovating or in the market for a tile, what's your 3 best tips that you could give them when trying to select the colours for their tiles?
Well, if I didn't say come to Uptiles, that'd be a problem. But look, I think people should do a little bit of research online is always good, looking at pictures and things like that, getting a concept together. You get a lot of people come in very cold and they're looking at what they used to have. And the problem is you don't buy tiles every year. You buy them every 10 years. So massive changes. If you went back 10 years ago and we were talking about tiles, so big, now they're huge. You get a bit of a shock when you get here, so a little bit unprepared. I think the pictures work well because when you come in, you're looking for a colour consultant or interior designer that's going to understand what you want, and obviously pictures explain that quickly. And the second thing is obviously choosing the correct person then to go forward with your design. Obviously budget's included in that, but I think realistically first you should start out with what you're trying to achieve. And then once you know what you want to achieve, you can start working back towards the budget. And then obviously in tiles, you're very lucky in that there's lots of options. So you can start at very high price stuff and you can come back and there's often replications at many price ranges. So first, pictures. Second, find the person and then find obviously a supply. From choosing a tile section sort of thing, well then that comes down to understanding, and the person that you're dealing with should be able to give you the ideas like we've spoken about today, the quality, is it green rated, how long we expect it to last and where. Obviously it's got to be the right look, but then you want to know all those other things in the background.
Tiles are definitely a big part of most homes. Like when you think about floor coverings in the house, they generally take up the largest percentage of floor area. So it's quite important that they tie in with the rest of the home. So.
Yeah. Well, I often say to people, you know, you wouldn't buy a brand new motor car and then go home and hand spray paint it, you know, because, you know, you're building the bones of the home, and we're putting the finish coat. And as you say, the tiles are a very large part of it. And when you go and look at most homes, if you took the bathrooms, the kitchens and the main floor out of them, they're really just big boxes, you know, and tiles add that flair. The Italian design adds the flair and creates value to the home. So I think that's a very important time to spend, and obviously probably invest in those rooms, you know.
You will spend a lot of time of your life in that space, so give a lot of importance to it. Second, get inspiration, enjoy what you're doing. Third, find someone that can A, translate what your inspiration is into materials, and B, that you can trust. So you need to rely on a professional. And four, find a reliable and respectable company to be able to bring the material from wherever it is produced to your house, because sometimes it doesn't happen that way. And this is, I think, one of the main points of the strength of Uptiles, because they don't only bring the trends, but as they don't only show the trends, sorry, but they bring them here in a timely manner, and they give the support, and they make us also give the support. And I think this is the chain of trust is what makes it work.
Yeah. So just on that same topics, like what about quality of tiles? Like what should people out there, if they're going out looking and tile shopping, and this isn't just clients, this is architects, designers, all that sort of thing as well. Like what should they be focusing on or looking for when selecting the quality of a tile?
Well, I think price helps you in the beginning, because you should be able to ask the difference. So why am I looking at these two tiles and they're similar, but they're 50% different in price?
Yeah.
What's the reason for it? And then obviously the tile supplier should be able to explain the reason. So if, for instance, you might see a tile and the two timber tiles look identical, but one may have 6 different faces and one may have 60 different faces. So if you want it to really look like timber, you want the 60 different faces. So you might pay a little bit more for it. Where if you're happy with just the 6 different faces, then you may be just happy with that. It may be no wear difference, it may be nothing, but it could be as simple as that. Generally, you know, tiles as a product for hard floorings are wearable, durable, and shouldn't require any ongoing maintenance. Obviously, if they do, then they're the ones that I would avoid, you know. So, but overall, realistically, it is about the design, it's about the perfection of the tile. So if the image is higher quality, it generally is more money, but that's the effect that you're going to achieve. So, and that's probably my main thing for people, is to ask questions, understand why there is a variation in cost, which happens with everything. You know, you get a better home if you get better tradesmen. You get a better product if it's built better. You know, so that's my main thing.
All right, guys, thanks very much for your time today. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
Great to see you again.
And learn a lot.
My pleasure.
Thank you.